Section 3 of the Act provides reasonable and fair provisions and maintenance of wife and those children out of that marriage which is dissolved under the Dissolution of Muslim Marriage Act. So, Section 3 of the Act provides a reasonable and fair provision and maintenance to be made and paid to her within the iddat period by her former husband. She has to be maintained during this period by the husband, and she is also to be provided with a sum lump sum amount as well as the balance of her unpaid dower. Secondly, it also includes for her children for a period of 2 years maintenance from the date of birth of such children. Under all schools of Muslims, the father has an obligation to maintain all his minor children, and Islam lays down that a father who willfully neglects or deserts his children or refuses to maintain them can be punished. The Act proposes to impose this obligation on divorced woman's father and her father's relations, including collateral. If the woman fails to get any maintenance from her father or father's relatives, maintenance can be claimed from the work board. In case of the first, it will not be practicable and it would be no more than an exercise in fulfilling. In the second case, work board's funds can be employed for the purpose for which it is created. It would also prove illusory. So, this provision of Section 3 of the Act provides reasonable and fair provisions and maintenance both of wife and those children born out of that marriage which was dissolved under the Dissolution of Muslim Marriage Act 1939. And our next provision under the Act is action against defaulting husband as provided under subsection 4 of section 3. So subsection 4 of section 3 stipulates for action against the defaulting husband. The magistrate may issue a warrant for levying the amount of maintenance for the whole or part of any amount remaining unpaid after the execution of the warrant to imprisonment for a term which may extend to 1 year or until payment, if sooner made, as a divorced woman is entitled of a reasonable and fair provision, and a reasonable and fair provision of maintenance within the period of iddat. The very question within came before the Gujarat High Court in the leading case A. Abdullah versus A.B. Mohanama in 1988, and Justice Shah observed that the word mean honor before, not beyond, not later than. Thus, the word within would mean that honor before the expiration of iddat period, the husband is bound to make and pay reasonable and fair provision and maintenance to the wife. This view has the support of a division bench of Kerala High Court, which rendered the judgment in Ali versus Shapura in 1988, and the most important leading case, that is Savanu case of 1985, where Justice Chandrachud, after interpreting certain verses of Quran, said that under Muslim law also the husband has the obligation to maintain a divorced wife apart from section 125 of Criminal Procedure Code. This is the law laid down by the highest court and is binding on all courts, even if so-called scholars and protagonists of Muslim law do not agree with this formulation. And in the leading case, M. Salvi versus T.V. Safia in 1993, the Kerala High Court, in holding that she is entitled to maintenance, who is living in adultery. Moreover, a divorced woman, being not a married woman, cannot commit adultery. So, in our next discussion, I would like to make a difference and distinction between provision and maintenance. So, the word provision is surely different and distinct from the word maintenance due to the Muslim divorced women for the death period. On the other hand, maintenance means the act of providing means of support for someone. Thus, the Gujarat Kerala High Court and Justice Rao of Andhra Pradesh High Court take the view that a reasonable and fair amount of maintenance has to be paid by a husband to his divorced wife during the period of iddat, and a reasonable and fair provision and maintenance to be after iddat till she remains unmarried. As Section 4 provides, a divorced woman is entitled to file an application for maintenance from her relatives or work board, but following two requirements should be satisfied. First one, she is not able to maintain herself after the iddat period, and secondly, she had not remarried after the iddat period. In relation to the suit for recovery of dowry, the 1992 decision in Anjum Hussain versus Srimati Salma, the petition for recovery of the amount of dowry does not lie in the family court but in the magistrate's court as provided under Section 3 of the present Act. as it was expressed by their lordship in Anjum Hassan versus Srimati Salma. So, Section 5 of the Act and its vis-a-vis position under Section 125 of CRPC. Section 5 of the Act gives opinion and option to either party, wife or husband, when they fast, they appear before a magistrate on the application of the wife under Section 3 to be governed by the Act or by Section 125 of the Criminal Procedure Code. So, regarding that, in Abdul Ghaffur versus Puttama Bibi in 1989, the Kerala High Court object that Section 5 gives option to the parties to be governed by the provisions of Section 125 to 128 of CRPC or the Act. Justice Shah rightly said that the Act nowhere lays down specifically or by necessary implication that it was enacted to nullify the decision of the Supreme Court in Shahwanu case, and nowhere it states that the rights which are given to a Muslim divorced wife under the personal law are in any way adversely affected by the present enactment. The objects and reasons for enactment specifically state that the Act is enacted to protect the rights which the Muslim divorced woman was entitled at the time when the Act was passed, and to further protect her interests, to save her from destitution. So, these are the provisions regarding both provision and maintenance as provided under the very Act, and that is Muslim Women Protection of Rights on Divorce Act 1986.